We're coming to our conclusion for the what I openly wanted to share in relation to um, tracking on emotions of anxiety and low mood in relation to starting therapy and kind of disclosing as I started making writings about my worries and keeping a track record of it, and along the lines of like what do you call it, doing additional reading in some books that I had around for relation to low intensity CBT, and also tracking that when you become more self aware of it, you come across blockages in your life, and that comes in lines of making you think that so nothing may become an opposite evident. So I recall for the GP, she just wanted to track me, and they felt that there was never a need to accelerate my process to a psychiatrist, in a sense that whether they could screen me for more implications of possible mental disorders on the term. It would also come in lines of getting appropriate documentation, as I do need to support my case possibly for remedial for my circumstances in my internship training, which is what it should be the normal path route that I took. But like putting that aside, because of circumstances, I felt like on certain interactions and implication of difficulties, I do come to think that I was wondering, do I suffer from trauma? Am I a person that is suffering from some degree of adjustment or acute stress disorder? I think PTSD is more related to life-threatening dangers. So, even though it's been a long time, I don't think that's the case. I think the answer is yeah. I do. I am a person that has suffered from trauma, and I came in lines of like reading from what my textbook comes to say, and I think whenever I felt an implication of something that hurt me and pushed out an implication that I would have to experience a sense of insecurity. Uh, uh, I think for most of it, it's because I had a very strong. I had a history as a person involved on some things, but there are internalized problems from my own circumstances, right? Because this is generally where I technically, yeah, I'm gonna have to move on from like mental issues. But like, yeah, I mean, I felt like that was pretty much the case. Inevitably, I had to go through the effects, weigh a bit from the negativity, and kind of like make the effort after. It took out time, but it had its phase. It had its phase before I could like reprocess it and start reading and get the implication. So yeah, yeah. So I do think I have a certain degree of subtype relation to an adjustment disorder or an acute stress disorder. And on the textbook, where I take the lines of saying I'm fitted for the implication of an adjustment disorder, comes in lines to saying that it's not life threatening, but it is a situation that comes in lines of a loss of a job, uh, or yeah, that's it, and a loss of a job, and that's the biggest difference why I cannot consider that. So it's been a accumulation of stuff, unfortunately, that just never got. It's been an accumulation of things that's accumulated onto me, and for a long period of time, and I held on with those firm thought process because my circumstances wouldn't get better. So yeah, and they would say like, could these stress issues be related to other medical condition as an alternative? So DSM-5 does say that the problem is like the symptoms haven't resolved, and yeah, the symptoms haven't resolved. This is the biggest implication why this is an issue, and I don't know how to deal with like that that in a sense dissociation. Uh, yeah, yeah, that's what it is. It's a I have a strong dissociation on cognition of certain things and behavior of people, in where I think people should have taken a more responsible matter, especially in a larger scale. But no, people didn't do that. People are have acted in a manner that could bring more advantage to themselves, and some of it was way off in terms of life experience that they have no right to have at all, because they are just uh, like, what do you call it, taking stuff that makes you interesting to make themselves look better. Right, so that's kind of like well, if you get seen fruit and you're, or well, it depends if people see fruit or not. If people see fruit, then yeah, it's completely shit. uh, it makes you look worse than it actually should be. So, like, I guess the word is, can you get away with it? If you didn't get away with it, then yeah, you kind of deserve all the scrutiny and verbose that people are putting onto you. So that's what it is, really. But for me, on large scale interpretation, it wasn't good for me. Like a lot of self-esteem implication. Um, and sorry, I did feel like I wanted to talk in relation to where I felt something that I came across this reading that made me made me feel like this kind of like resonates well with me, right? Apologies. I'm trying to like get a better idea of like where was the reading that I wanted to push out. No. Oh. Okay, I have to like review this again. Not bad. Another aspect is like this dissociation. This is the food thing that I talked about, and I came across with other readings. It's the implication of like it's a short form to say a fugitive who runs away or forms a new identity. Traumatic experience can make create existing thought process and behavior to kind of like distance itself to form something else of external influence, which kind of like changes a person's normal personality. Everyone should start as a baseline. Life happens, environment, things gonna happen. It's kind of distinguish it. This is why psychiatry can be very overly sensitive for people. It can play on their existing personality that they formed already at this point, at this stage, uh, based on like their environment, so let's all. And like when something comes down to betray your beliefs, those things that you feel strong about that keeps you going, uh, especially if it's just like maybe you got taken advantage, or like you feel like your work had no meaning anymore. Like that's kind of implication leads on to depersonalization, dissociation. So and and yeah, and then your autobiographical memory gets disrupted from the creation of yourself, and also your surroundings. So you're like, it's kind of like blunting. So if you used to really like your work, then something happened in your work, then you kind of feel a bit, and you felt like what would happen betrayed your expectation to your expectation from that, then you kind of like detach yourself. The worst part of that is just like if that becomes a normal in that culture for some of it, but then over time your brain adjusts to say, right, okay, whatever, right? And then you may start losing engagement to things that you hold dear to what you enjoy. And it's not for me to like really say, but like I do take adamant to saying that the people who are managed to like preserve the aspects of like their work ethics, their desire to push others and bring others to like enjoy what they at this point what you're doing, uh, brings me towards them because I felt like this is cool for me, right? In your own setting, generally. Uh, if it keeps happening, there is implication that it will be associated with low mood and more anxiety. So generally these kind of like things on the long term are going to be deconstructing for yourself. So it's not good. I forgot to do this. There's an OCD personality disorder and also an obsessive compulsive obsessive compulsive personality disorder or obsessive compulsive disorder, right? And I think the implication is, do I have OCD? The implication of OCDP personality disorder is that they are so preoccupied with unimportant details that they are often unable to complete simple tasks in a timely fashion. They appear stiff, serious, and formal with constricted affect. They are successful professionally but have poor interpersonal skills. Oh, that might be a good implication here of 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 thoughts. Yeah. So they are preoccupied with orderliness, control, perfectionism, and expenses of flexibility presented by early adulthood and in various contexts. Um, the preoccupation of details, rules, lists, organization, such as the major point of activity is lost. I feel like a lot of medical people would be like that, though. I'm not gonna lie. There's just the sense that we want to make sure that we get things right. They're excessive conscientious and scrupulous about moral and ethics, and will not delegate tasks, unable to discard worthless objects. No, that's not true. You have to do that. That's part of like efficiency. Generally, they would put a sex. Well, okay, work, hobby, whatever. Um, and miserly spending style and rigid and stubborn. What? I don't know about that one. uh, so, what is the distinction between obsessive compulsive disorder? Uh, OCPD are ego-syntonic rather than ego-dystonic. Are where they have people with OCD are aware they have a problem in which their thoughts and behavior would go away. Oh, okay. This is distinguishing between OCD. So OCPD do not have recurrent obsession or compulsions. So like they have ritualistic behavior to like deal with their anxiety. So so I'm incorporating strategies, but I don't feel adherent that I'm going to keep that up on that circumstances. I'm actually going to conclude this chapter being fun, but I can see now the implication of CDPD being implied on me, but I think that's also in lines of like development from my career course, and just trying to meet to the expectation of what it's needed to be a good physician. Okay, that's one part here. What else? Now? This is where I kind of take a stance of talking about like implication when you have to dissociate from a traumatic event, and this is going to be biased and personalized to each person. But like, this is what I was trying to say. Do I feel like I consider myself having passed through trauma? Yeah, uh, often. If I have also make a reference of like when I was tracking my worry journals, just expressing my thoughts and keeping a record of like what I was thinking and what happens. When I read it on a per person basis, because now I can kind of analyze it in a more methodical manner. Um, there are that saying implication of what I write from expression that makes me sick. Yeah, yeah, there is. When I read this, and normally I would say the psychiatrist should be giving me an analogy when I'm just expressing myself without putting much thought. There's this, you notice this is the implication of like you're reading and they're matching the theory in relation to the analysis of your own personal being. So they do this for you usually. So what it kind of takes in lines is that I have recurring thoughts and worries, and a lot of it comes down from like implication of exam stress and interpersonal relationships. So like if I look at it in a very in a manner that I'm trying to be a clinician, like pretending this is not me, these worries recur often, and they're like yeah. So there's always like, and even the expression of in a satirical, joking manner, still an expression of my personality. So like, what if I fail? What if I fail? What if I fail? What if I fail? Must go. Oh, maybe I should omit the name there. Sorry, that's. So like that kind of made a running theme, but like I'm still having reaction basis when things feels off for me. So in that sense, yeah, it is wrong. And and then I go into specific details of like how I'm methodically approaching trying to learn things. I mentioned my driving here, and interpersonal attachments of where kind of like these are very like these are very I feel like this is a good core belief for anyone that was that hold it that wanted to hold themselves in a manner that like what's the word I'm looking for? I overthink a lot because I want to yeah, I want to develop good relationship with people. I want to what do you call make parties that I felt deserving feel good or achieve what they're trying to want to get in life, usually. And it is like an ongoing process, it's a process. But like I think the beauty of it was that uh, the beauty of it, seeing it was just like choices that you made, even in circumstances that you thought were difficult, and leading into what well, it's very hard for me to express this. I'm sorry. I feel like I need more time to like find ways to verbalize it in a manner that makes me feel better.
Hey everyone, thank you for putting the effort to watch the effort I placed on making something of an entertaining video. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said before, it's not forced, but like I really would appreciate any contribution and support you give to this channel, as it gives me more motivation and more incentive to enjoy more video creating and content creation. Uh, if you find that the content's drifts away at any point, you can always unsubscribe. It's no big deal. Again, it doesn't mean much. It doesn't take much from you, but it means a whole bunch of me. And it would feel great if you would just reward my efforts of trying to be positive and contributionary. Thank you so much. Bye.